You're exhausted, you're undervalued, you feel unmotivated, and you're secretly wondering how much longer you can even keep pushing through this to get this done. That's the way you're feeling, my love. Then today's live is for you. Hey, everyone, welcome back. My name is Acacia Thornton, the CEO legal coach, and this is the Aligned Business Series where we go live 3 times a week answering your questions. What can we do to manifest a better business? What can we do to increase our revenue? What can we do to protect the energy, the time, and the heart space we bring into things? So I want you to find your chat. I see some of you in there. Hey, all. And as we walk through turning that burnout into inspiration today, that's what today's call is about. Turning that burnout into inspiration. What do you do? How do you do it? Here's what is going to happen. Okay? Because I think everyone at some point has been there. I definitely have been. I went to law school with knowing that law school is hard. Law school is tough. Being a lawyer is exhausting, right? You got to win, you got to fight, you got to do all this research, all this writing, all this studying. It's tough. And I went in with that mindset. And I spent 5 years like that. I was working full time. So I was beyond exhausted. I'm taking 4 law classes a semester because that's what you have to do. You have to take at least 4 when you're in law school. You cannot go behind. You have to stay on the school's track. I'm working full time, 40-hour weeks, and trying to manage my life as a human being. And quite frankly, I didn't do a good job of it. Burnout and exhaustion was an understatement. I ended up with multiple health problems. I was in my 20s, graduated when I was 31. So I'm too young to have health problems. And yet I had not 1, but 2 medical professionals tell me if I don't stop, I'm going to end up dead. And I was like, what? I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. What are you talking about? And it turns out it had nothing to do with the food I was eating or the way I was really treating my body. It had to do with that feeling of burnout, that exhaustion, that stress, that weight. And so that's why it's so important that we talk about this, because when we are in that space and doing something, we are literally depleting our energetic bodies. And it's your physical space, but also your soul-filled space. Your soul, your energy, everything in the world is energy vibrating at a frequency. And because, that's what we all are, right? We're atoms and molecules, and there's little vibrations going on. And that's what makes your couch, your arm, and air. It's all vibrating molecules, but in different states, different vibration waves. And that's why we sense what it is. So you're meant to be a thriving, energetic being. And when we're not doing that, what's happening is we're literally getting depleted, literally being depleted, not just feeling depleted. So what is burnout? What is it? Burnout is when we have gone so far of trying, pushing, fighting, stressing, thinking. There's a lot of different triggers that we're going to get into in a sec. But when they start to build up and they deplete us to a point where we're not living a thriving, joyful life. And this could happen, in a small way, like, there's a client and it's this and that, and they're driving me nuts. Or it could be a series of all of my clients, my job, my boss, I'm tired of my career, right? It could happen in these small little, and odds are it's probably happening at different ones in different levels in different ways all at once. The everything, past, present, future, all at once kind of feeling. But what ends up happening is it's not just what's happening, it's the way it feels. Will it ever end? Can I just get a break? Can I just, oh my gosh. And so that's where it becomes depleting in such a way that we can't get to thriving. No matter how much you want, no matter how much you try, it's another battle, it's another fight, it's another, got to push through. These are all signs that your burnout is inevitable. And when you hit burnout, you're so exhausted that you either can't think straight. All you do is want to sleep. You procrastinate. You want to be a couch potato. I've experienced all of those. And it's not that you're being lazy, and it's not that you're weak. It's that the energy has gone to such things that are not giving you back what you need. When you put heart into something, you need heart back. You have to. This give exchange thing. Like I said, when I went to law school and did all those things, really, really gave a lot of myself. I gave myself because that's what it takes. I told myself. I told myself law school was hard. I told myself, looking back, law school really wasn't hard. It was just something I had to do. But did I have to do it? Why did I choose all of that? The mindset I had going into it is what did it. Because when you want to change something in your life, your thoughts and your actions matter, but it's not enough. This is where a lot of people get caught up. Your thoughts and your actions are not enough. Thinking I want to go to law school and become a lawyer, and then doing those actions did not lead to satisfaction. Where somebody else can decide to go to law school and then go through the actions and love their career, love the experience, love all of these things. And we see this sometimes maybe like when you try new food, you go to a restaurant, you go there and then it wasn't what you expected. It wasn't this or that, where somebody else is like, this is my favorite restaurant. And you're like, why? Because it is not the thought and the action that matters the most. It is the how. The energetic space you're in is the how, and that is your emotional well-being. And in today's world, we are a little hesitant to talk about emotions. Like, I'm at work, my emotions don't matter. Ooh, but they do. Because why are you at work? You're at work to bring value. You are at work to have a thriving and valued career space. You worked hard to become something that you were called to become, and you want to feel valued and appreciated in that. You want to get the value exchange of your energy and your time and your heart space, your education in response for something else. That is what it is to have a value exchange. It's not just the money. That's why you maybe were inspired to ever get a job in the first place, but that's not everything that you're looking for from it. One of my best friends from college, we were in the same not law school, business program together. And he is a great VP, great manager, great leader. And he's got this one employee, and he was coming to me, and he's like, Acacia, it frustrates me. I want this guy to want a career here. He's great at what he does. He's really good at it. Natural skill set. I want him to want more. I want him to want to give more. And so I asked my friend, I'm like, well, do you pay him more? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, what is his job description? And he listed out. I'm like, do you pay him for that job description? He's like, yep, we pay him competitively. That's what we do. I'm like, okay, well, does that job description include anything like, I want you to give your life to this. I want this to be your life goal. I want this. He's like, no. I'm like, and then you don't pay that guy for all of that. No. So that wasn't part of your value exchange. This employee gets to choose the value he brings to his job and the way his job is in his life. If that job is everything to him, then he can give it that way and have the value exchange he wants for that. But if it's not, he has signed up for a value exchange of doing this type of work at this type of standard and this type of turnaround, these type of environments. And I asked my friend, does he do that? He goes, he does it very well. Like, then the value exchange is done. Right? You can't get somebody to give more if that's not what it means to them. As long as they are bringing their part of the exchange. It'd be one thing if this kid wasn't doing his job, was being lazy, right? That's different because then he's not fulfilling his part of the bargain. But he's naturally good at what he wants, that my friend wants him to want more. This is where burnout comes in, when we give more than we are getting in response for that value exchange. And this could come in a client. You're overgiving to your client. This could come for a client. You're underpaid by that client. This could come to your employer. The value isn't there. So then the question becomes a few of them, right? Why are you giving more than you are getting? Why are you giving more than you are getting? Is there a way to fix that? Is there a way to give a little less? Well, still get what you need to get, right? If you're only signed up for a 9-to-5 job, don't work 12-hour days. Still get the standard done, what you've promised to do, all those things in there. Of course, you do not, like I said, if there's a value exchange, make sure you're meeting your standards of excellence and quality regarding that. But beyond that, why are you giving more if you're not getting more? Same with your clients. If your client has paid for 10 hours of your work, don't give them 20 hours of your work. They've paid for 10. Well, the project needs more. Then we need to go talk to the client about changing the scope, changing the budget, having a different conversation. There's a way to fix, modify, address the value exchange. The other thing where burnout comes in is not just the value exchange, but like, for example, I'm writing a book right now. I'm writing a book. I was inspired to write this book. This book came out and an idea. Like, I could not believe it, the way the universe gave me this book. I love it. I'm so excited for it. But then there are days I'm like, I am not in the mood to write this right now. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. And then I remember I can get myself disciplined, force myself to sit at that desk and start writing. Or I can remember that the universe gave me this idea. The universe called me to do this work, which means there's an answer, an easy, inspired answer. I don't need to push through and burn out, because that's going to come out in my writing style. That's going to come out in the way that it is read by the audience. It's going to come out in the words I choose and the structure. I want this book to feel inspiring. So I want to write it from a place of inspiration, and forcing myself to sit at my desk in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon is not what I'm in the mood for. Okay, let me ask the universe, you've inspired me to do this. What's a way I can make this easy, flowing, feel inspired, not feel stressed, not feel overworked, not feel pressured, not feel any of those things that I know cause my tension in my body, my gut to clench, my hands to clench, to overthink before I go to bed and bring insomniac, or to eat junk food because I'm just trying to eat my emotions down. There's a fun and easy way to do this. So I step back and I ask the universe, help me write this in a way that is fun and inspiring. And then I come from that space, and usually I get inspired to go write it this way. It was really, really interesting because this happened on one of the chapters. Two of the chapters were pretty easy, came out of me naturally. But one of them, I was just like, I know I feel called to write it, but I don't know where to start. So I asked the universe to help. And I do this a lot. Whenever I start to feel anything in my business, my work, my clients, where things feel tense, starting to feel like work, starting to feel exhausted, starting to feel like I'd rather go do anything else, I stop. Is there an easier way to do this? I had this one with one of my clients. She came to me. We were going to do contracts and we were doing business coaching together. And she was like, hey, I've been in business for 10 years. And I've been pretty successful in those 10 years. Her take home has always been 6 figures, right? So the business is doing better than that. And she's like, but I'm tired of my client acquisition. I am tired of doing it this way. I've hit burnout. I've hit resentment. I want to stop. But I also have these ideas and I just don't know what to do. And so I stopped and I was like, okay, well, what are the things that you are liking? She's like, well, I like this. I like that. I like the creative of this. I want to have these types of meetings and these types of calls, but I have to do this. I was like, okay, do you have to write the emails? Do you have to have that cold call situation? Do you have to do that? Why are you doing that? She goes, well, I do that to get clients. Okay, you're doing it to get clients, but you don't like doing it. No. Is there another way to get clients? Just step back, and instead of forcing yourself to do the actions you don't want to do, step back and be like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to get clients. Okay. Ask yourself, is there another way to accomplish that goal? She goes, oh my God. Answer came to her like that. 2 weeks later, she was telling me she had already doubled her biggest month ever. And because we were only 2 weeks into the month, she was on track to triple her biggest month ever. It's not that she didn't want clients. It's not that she didn't like her business and that she didn't like doing these things. It's that she didn't like these particular things. She kept telling herself that the only way to get clients was to do what she had been doing to get clients for the past 10 years. That's not the only way to get clients. She had been inspired to do something else. So oftentimes our burnout, our stress, our forcing, our fighting is the universe, our energy, our body saying there's another way. There's an easier way. There's a free-flowing way that can actually be fun and easy. But we don't think like that. We feel like that. And in the Western world, right, I come from a business and a legal background, so I've been taught to be quite the thinker. Nobody in law school ever asked, so how did that case make you feel? That doesn't get asked. So I never checked in with my feelings. But I could think my way through. I could problem solve that one. I could plan that. I can grit and discipline my way through it all. But as I'm doing this overworking over all of these things, I'm telling myself that that's the way I begin to feel. where if I had been excited to go to law school, felt gratitude for the opportunity to go. Not very many people get to do that. And I got to do that. But I didn't come in with appreciation. Had I would have enjoyed it a lot more. The opportunity to be a lawyer for some great companies. Oh God, I got to work hard. Well, lawyers are overworked. We do this and underpaid. Or I'd be like, this is really, really amazing. It's not what I am doing, but how I'm going about it. Not what we're doing, but how we're going about it that leads to burnout. So if you start to feel burnout, stop. Give yourself the rest because it is your vibration working in a way it doesn't want to work. So that is physically draining, okay? Burnout is real in the physical, mental, and emotional sense. So honor that. Give yourself some self-love. Breathe. Take a bath. Do some breathing. Go work out. Go for a walk. Just step away from it for a second. Just step away from it for 1 second. And then after you've been able to calm your nervous system, I was telling you I had a lot of health problems at the end of law school. That was because my nervous system was so worked up in that tense, overworked stress vibration. My body couldn't work the immune system correctly because it had been shaken and tensed so much. I had to calm it. And because I'd been at that for so many years, it took years to calm it back down. Where now I have trained myself to check in, see how things are going. How does this feel? Like I said, I'm writing the book and I quickly realized I don't feel like sitting down today. Okay. How can we do this in a way that we're going to enjoy? And the next thing you know, I've completed a whole chapter in a day. And I was like, what? What? How did I go from not wanting to do this to really enjoying this? So that is our opportunity in burnout, is to reframe what we're doing, why we're doing it, and explore if there's a better way on how. So that is really, really important, okay? So let's start looking at some quick steps, and then we're going to get to your questions. I do see them in there, guys. So yeah, don't forget to put your questions into the chat. Let me put that up really quick. There you go. So what can we do? The first is to stop, pause, and create awareness. The second you feel it, just stop. And that is already self-love, by the way. That right there is already self-love. You're already stopping and being like, you know what? My life, who I am, my physical being, my mental, emotional well-being are more important than pushing through. So you can give yourself that moment of self-love. Then you're going to let go of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Let go of what you're doing and why you're doing it, because it doesn't have to be that way. There is another way. So let yourself know that, you know what? This way sucks. I'm not going to keep doing it. Don't keep doing what hurts or what's not working, what's not easy. And instead ask yourself, is there a better way? Is there an easier way? So, right, I told you about the client story where she wanted client acquisition. It's not that she actually wanted to sell her business, but that's why she came to me. She was so done. And the whole thing was simple. Just because she had created habits and knowing how to get clients for 10 years. She was successful doing things this way. So she assumed she had to keep doing it that way. So just asked her, why do you do this? I do this to get clients. Is there another way to get clients? Yeah, there was. And it was so aligned that she ended up tripling her business. She was able to bring somebody else on and triple everything. And she even started telling me how she started to notice in meetings she'd be this type of person, but that's not who she wanted to be. So she could feel inside of herself that wasn't the easiest, most aligned way. So she'd calm herself. And that is how she just compounded this so quickly. She just started to stop and briefly check in. Does this feel good? Yeah? Keep doing it. If not, ask, is there a better, easier way? Because there probably is. Okay? And that's it. It is that simple. And then from there, you just slowly practice. Slowly practice. You can make it a thing once a day. Does my day feel inspiring to me? Am I excited about today? Yes or no? If yes, cool. If not, what can we do to make it a better day? and then about your projects and little things, right? The more you practice, the more you tune in. It's almost like a mini detox. So not only 2% better today, 2% better tomorrow, 2% the day after, and the next thing you know, you have literally changed your life by 50% in like a week or two. Just these little check-ins, just removing those moments of stress and instead putting in a faster, easier way that feels more exciting. Okay, so let's look at these questions. Hey, Mark. Hey, Chris. Hey, Emmy. Hey, Lisa. Great to see you guys back. Yes. Okay. I said okay. How do I know? How do you know if what you're feeling is really burnout and just not normal stress? Stress isn't normal, love. Stress is a early sign of burnout. If you keep stressing about things, you're going to end up burnt out. Stress is an early sign of burnout. So both of them. If you're stressed, why are you stressed? What about this is stressful? Is there an easier way? Is there a way to go about this without that stress? Like I said, simply telling myself that as a lawyer, I was going to be overworked led me to stress, led me to feeling overworked, led me to being overworked. The work was the work. It doesn't have to be overworked. And I didn't even have to go to law school. Right? All these different levels of I could have checked in with myself along the way and done better for me. Stress is the early sign that you're headed towards burnout. Okay. So neither of those, we don't want either of them in there. Do what it takes to take care of yourself and eliminate it. Some things were in the middle of the project. We can't just overhaul the whole thing and say, that's it, getting rid of all the stress. But we can inject that little 2%, right? Maybe your kids are stressing you out. Is there a way that we can just be 2% better today? Just 2%. And eventually the project gets a slightly better. Eventually the relationships with your kids get slightly better. And then you'll just suddenly hit a tipping point. You'll just hit a tipping point. The project ends. The relationship's better. It just shifts. It shifts. And in my experience, whenever I hit those tipping points, I get a lot more money, which hopefully the same is for you too, because who you are becomes more inspired and more energetic and more vibrant. So therefore, that is what happens more in your life, more energy, more vibrancy. People pay you to be you. And if you're being stressed, they're not going to have a great hierarchy or value with that energetically. How much of burnout is about workload versus mindset? It's always your mindset. It's always your mindset and your heart set, because it's not about the work. Like I said, the book, I'm trying to get myself to get this book done by a deadline. I have set that deadline. So I also know that the stressors or whatever about that deadline are mine. And writing the book is writing the book. So I can have my mindset about that. Like, I'm really excited to write this book. This is going to be great. Or, oh my God, I got to get this done. The work is the work. How I go about it is simply based on how I choose to approach it. So it's not the workload itself. That being said, there are many of us that like to play the martyr. I used to be in this mindset. It's a personality type where we don't trust others to do it right. We feel we get valued or appreciated because we take everything on. But when it hits a tipping point that you're more depleted, you're actually not being the best you can be. So there might be room to let go of some of the workload. Ask yourself, why am I taking this on? Am I taking this on because I feel I have to? Because nobody else can do it as good as I can? Because somebody asked me to, I have to say yes? No, you don't. That was one of the biggest impacts of my career, is when I learned to say no. Because when you start as a lawyer, you have lawyers above you. You also have the clients or the people in the business that you're supporting. And so I would have whatever workload I'd have from my clients and business lines. And then the senior lawyers and directors would come to me and be like, hey, can you help with this? And so the first time I said no, it was just really relieving because I knew I could focus on my project and get it done. The second time I said no, I was like, look, I can't today, but I can help you with it on Friday. I should be done with this by Friday. And she came over to me and she was like, Acacia, I'm realizing you're saying no a lot more often. It's in your job description to say yes. And I explained to her, like, look, this is what I have on my plate right now. I've got this deadline for this. This is happening today with these calls and that. So If I stay on top of this, I'll have it done by Thursday, which is why I offered Friday to you. But if I take your project today, right now, none of these are going to be done on time. None of these are going to be done within like the standard of excellence that need to be done. I'm just taking on work to say yes to you. I'd rather give you quality work in 3 days than to overwork myself and not deliver any of these correctly in 2 days. And I showed that to her, and she was like, that makes sense. It's like, so if you're on a deadline, I'm going to need you to take it. But if you can wait till Friday, be happy to help you. She appreciated that. And guess what? She never came to me again. She started to respect whenever I would say yes or no to something, because she knew I wasn't saying no to be mean, that I wasn't saying no to not do my job, but because I was trying to balance my workload in a way that impacted the quality and standards. These things matter. Okay. So it's not always having to say yes. If you are always saying yes, you have room to grow and give yourself more self-love and better balance. Yeah. What is the very first step to move from burnout into inspired action? Step 1 is just even recognizing, giving yourself permission, believing the things you do can be fun and easy. The things you do can be fun and easy. And while I don't like using the word should, they should be. You should enjoy your life. You should enjoy all the creative abilities that you were given. You should enjoy you were designed to be. And if the life you're living, what is around you, the people around you, the projects you're doing, the actions you're taking aren't valuing you for you, it's time to look for shifts. It's time to look for shifts. The very first step is recognize, give yourself permission. No, it is possible. Maybe your parents didn't show you that. Maybe your teachers didn't show you that. Maybe that's not the culture at your job. I was a lawyer and I got verbally abused, and I worked by people who had even been more verbally abused than other. It's just not exactly a great circle in certain circles of law. But that doesn't mean there are not great attorneys out there who are amazing people. In fact, some of the most amazing people I've ever met are attorneys. Really, truly. I was just working for the wrong ones in the wrong space that aligned to my mindset about things. So know that it is possible. Believe it's possible and work your way towards that. You can quit your job today if you want and go find another one that does that, or you can do your job now in the capacity of which you're going to give to it, knowing that your real capacity is getting you to what you want to do the way you want to do it. So it's not an all or nothing, just like with my client. She's like, I have to sell the business. I can't stand client acquisition anymore. It's a big overhaul. And when I did that in my legal career, I had stopped and I started to realize, no, there are things about being a lawyer that are truly who I am. I love them. I adore them. Can't get enough of them. I didn't mean to leave them behind. I want them back. But I don't want these other things that way anymore. Just like my client with her business. It wasn't that she was done with the business. There are parts of it she loved, but she was willing to get rid of all of it because this one part was driving her insane and hitting burnout. So give yourself permission to know that there is a better, easier way out there. And allow yourself to start feeling that direction. And you'll start to see your life change. Sometimes very quickly. Like I said, it could happen in a matter of weeks. How do I take action when I literally have zero energy left? Okay. You are literally energy. Your body is energy. Everything is energy. You're made up of molecules. When you eat calories, it goes through your system and creates energy. You are literally energy. It's not that you don't have energy. It's that something is depleting it. It's that something isn't helping you vibrate more. That's what you want. That's what you need. So it's not that you need to take action. Forcing yourself to do something when you're not in the mood to do it, when you're not feeling inspired to do it, just depletes you more. So first, remove the mindset that you have to do something. You don't have to do anything. Our bodies are designed to rest at night, to detox, right? Go through this process. Allow yourself to energetically detox. Give yourself the space to do that, which probably means calming yourself. I had a client recently. Well, this person wanted to be a client. They came to me. They're like, "This is what I'm doing. I'm doing all this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this and this because I want money. I want money, 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 money. I want it right now. These are all the actions I'm taking." And I was like, "Okay, what's your goal?" And they're like, "This much money." I was like, "Okay. Have you ever written that on the board before? Like, have you had a?" She's like, "Yep, have, totally have. And then here's all the actions I take, and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "There's a very frantic energy right now. You're trying to go from the idea, this is the money I'm trying to attract, jumping into the action phase." The reason this person was exhausted and overworked, like this person had vocals out there, this person had videos out there, this person had funnels out there, this person had books and workbooks, like a million different opportunities out there. And yet none of them are landing. Why? Because it's not thought plus action. That's what leads to stress, right? Thought plus action. You're doing it regardless of how you feel about it. So I had this person sit down. I was like, instead of taking action on this idea, I want you to write it down and I want you to not take action for 48 hours. And this person was like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, repeating your cycle is not going to suddenly get you money. You have to break the cycle. You have to understand why by feeling into it. This person didn't want to stop and feel. And I know this person particularly has, a traumatic background, had been diagnosed with ADHD, all these things, because they didn't want to stop and feel. But that vibration needs to be released. It has to be released to make space for the calm, smooth, happy. Things flow naturally. Money, a great life, abundance flows out of the feeling of it. So how did this person feel about getting that money? They felt frantic. How did this person feel about taking the actions? It's never going to work. Oh my God, everything else has never worked. So why would this one work? These thoughts, these memories, this guilt, the shame had been running through their head. We need to break that. Let it go. Forgive yourself. Forgive that moment. As Bob Proctor says, you don't need to pay for something twice. You pay for the mistake when it happened. Don't repeat it. Don't let that thought, those ideas, that pain, that guilt, that shame come into today, because otherwise you're going to pay twice. So breaking that into the feeling. This is why recognizing burnout and stress and these things that lead into that are so important. It's not about thinking. It's about feeling. So if you're worried about action, my action that I would recommend is to stop and practice letting go. Practice letting go as much as you can. That could be 10 minutes a day. Like I said, if it's really bad, a day or two might be nice. Just give yourself the breathing space to return to a more neutral space. And then don't repeat the habits. Don't just go in and redo it all again. What's the easier way to do this? What can I do to make this seem fun, flow? Do I need to remove this from my life? These little recognition points can be really, really important. Okay, one more question. How do I stay inspired when external stress like my clients' deadlines and bills keep piling up? Okay, this sounds exactly like what my client just went through, right? The idea of you keep moving forward, compounding the way you're thinking and feeling. If the first bill stresses you, the second bill is going to add more stress. Then the third bill is going to add more stress. Next client is this, right? Suddenly, you're ready to explode. Break the cycle. Break the cycle. Right now, you're not ready to stay inspired. You're not even inspired to begin with. You're stressed. You're exhausted. You already see where you're going. Continuing down this path is not going to make it better. Just like me graduating law school. Great, I'm done with law school. I've got it. I did it. Fudge. Now I got to go become a lawyer. Now I got to go do this. Now I got to find a job and do this. And all I'm going to do is work more. And now I'm just doing the mindset. It's not what I was doing, it was how I was doing it. And I got into that point where I was just done. I need to walk away. I can't be a lawyer anymore. I can't do this. And then it turns out I actually enjoyed being a lawyer. There's some things about it I really loved, but I was so stressed I couldn't stop and appreciate them. So what I did is I took FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. I took a few weeks off of work and I just sat there and let myself free myself from the guilt, from the shame, from all those things of what I had done. And asked myself, well, what would I want it to feel like? What does inspire me? Why don't these things inspire me? Why is it when I get an email from that person, my gut clenches? Oh, because that person isn't enjoyable to work with. Because that person brings this attitude, this mindset, and so on. What can I do? Can I stop supporting this person? Yes or no? Okay. Because here's the thing. And you're like, well, I can't get rid of a client. I need the money. You can't get another client if you're still holding on to the old ones. I would much rather have a client that pays me 2/3 and I feel inspired, happy, and joyful to work with them. Because what ends up happening is then we build a relationship and then they end up paying me more money over time. The relationship is better. Everything else is better. And then when I feel better, come from a more inspired space, I'm talking to other people, suddenly I get the other clients coming in too. You have to make space for what it is you want. You have to make space for that, love. So stop, give yourself that little bit of breathing space. Let the guilt, the shame, the past, the thoughts go. What about this is doing that for you? And then allowing yourself to clear the air. Clear the air to the best that you can, right? If you have a client, you're mid-project, finish the project. But see if there's a way that you can look at it more enjoyably and do that. In fact, let me share this with you guys. I've got a 7 signs you're overgiving. This is a free guide I've got. It walks you through, like, how do you know when you're overgiving to your clients? How do you know if you're overdoing the things in your business in ways that are depleting you? And this guide has it. It's totally free, guys. And it's just a download. It's just your name and your email. And then what you do is you go through all of that. And little by little, you clean it out. 2% here, 2% there. Right? Imagine 2% plus 2% plus 2% plus 2%. By the end of the week, by the end of the month, by the end of the quarter, how different is life going to feel? Because you talk about bills, right? You got an electric bill. Shit, you got a bill to pay. But you have electricity. You have electricity. You also have a way to pay the bill. Even if the money's not there yet, you know how to get that money. You know how to step into that. Those are all amazing things of abundance to be proud of and excited of. And then we can work on building more abundance where then the bill is not so stressful. It becomes easy to pay. I remember when $30 felt like half my income. But now $30 is like, oh, sure, not a problem here. Right? It's all relative. It's all relative. So give yourself that space, love. That's how you're going to do that. Stop. See what about these things. Relax, the self-love, let it go, forgive, and see if there's a new way to build it. And if you have to keep some of these things in your life for a little bit, change your mindset about them, knowing this will be the last client you ever have like this. This will be the last client you ever have like this. That right there is amazing, right? You're excited to leave a job. You give your 2-week notice. Hell yeah. Suddenly those 2 weeks are a lot easier. Same work. Might even be more work because I got to train somebody and pass off all the stuff. But guess what? You feel relieved and happy in your mindset because you know you're never going to have to do that work again. Okay. All right, all this week, everything is going to be about the mindset, burnout, inspired action, getting it there. We're going to talk about from a money perspective. We're going to talk about it from a work and client's perspective a bit more. So join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. CEO Legal Coach, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'll see you there.